Hello everyone, welcome back to Soccer Showdown. Joe Archino here as always with Martino Puccio, and we kick things off starting with the 2018 World Cup in Russia. We are currently in the qualification stage, but there's been so much discussion. Fans are already waiting and want to discuss who has the best chance to win the World Cup heading into Russia. And I think ESPN FC recently, they released their odds of who has the best chances to win it. So we're going to discuss it, and we're going to tell you who we think has the best chance to win the World Cup in Russia. But I will give them to you now. According to ESPN FC, Germany has an 11-2% chance, France has a 6-1, Brazil has a 13-2, Spain has a 9-1, Argentina has a 9-1, Belgium has a 16-1, Italy has a 16-1, and then England, rounding things off, has a 20-1 chance. So Martino, now the question for you is, who do you believe should be the favorite to win the 2018 World Cup in Russia?
I'll tell you what, it was definitely a difficult decision for me, but I ended up choosing France. I mentioned France a couple years ago on Twitter because I really liked their projection moving forward, but combination of youth and experience, and their youth has only gotten better with the emergence of Kylian Mbappe. So I really love them there. You still got Paul Pogba, a bunch of other guys, as well Antoine Griezmann up top. And I think they really are looking to learn from their experience of losing to Portugal last year. I think it's definitely something to grow on. And I think moving forward towards Russia next year, they're primed to go to the final and eventually win it.
Kind of like you said, for me, it comes down to youth as well. And I like Brazil in this competition. And I think when we looked at the Olympics the previous summer, we really saw Neymar, Gabriel Jesus, all these young players continue to show such tremendous growth. And I think in this competition, it's becoming about bringing that excitement, these exciting young players. I think that's certainly something that Brazil has. There's still a lot of experience national teams like Germany, like Argentina, which I think are still going to be right there. But to me, I really have my eyes on Brazil. And now we transition to the U.S. men's national team. I think certainly right now there's a lot of doubt about Team USA's chances to go to the 2018 World Cup. But they got a little boost from Bobby Wood as he netted a late equalizer to draw things up with Honduras for Team USA. So basically, Team USA, Martino, is now in a position where they have to win their next two. And if they do win their next two against Panama and Trinidad and Tobago, they're basically guaranteed a spot in the 2018 World Cup. So I think the question, though, is, Martino, can they do it? Do you have faith in Team USA to get into a spot to be in the World Cup?
I think my confidence has definitely wavered a little bit, especially considering the performances that they had in their past two games. Tim Howard did an awful job against Costa Rica. I think that's why they started Brad Guzan against Honduras. And even against Honduras, too, you could tell the team was really frustrated, including Christian Pulisic, because you saw him getting fouled on the field and he didn't respond well to that. And really, he's the only main option that they have until Clint Dempsey comes on later in the game. So I think this stems in a much bigger problem, including depth and the quality that Team USA has in general. I didn't originally like the hire of Bruce Arena. I said it was one step forward, two steps back on one of our previous shows that we had. So moving forward, they're most likely to get into the World Cup, but it's all about how you do in the World Cup. And to me, it doesn't really look that good so far.
Well, we transition now to the club level where we're talking once again about Neymar Jr. in Paris Saint-Germain. And another Brazil legend just spoke about Neymar and his move to PSG, and it was Pele. Pele thought that it was certainly a good move because it would allow Neymar to escape Messi's shadow. But one of the other things he did talk about was the massive responsibility that comes with becoming the sole face of a franchise like Neymar now is. So now, Martino, I think the question is, Neymar is in a position now where he certainly hasn't been tasked with before, where whenever there's adversity for PSG or wherever something goes wrong, he will be the guy who has to be responsible for it all. I think certainly when he was at Barcelona, he had Luis Suarez and Messi and lots of other experienced players who helped him kind of get through those rough patches. So I'll ask you, how do you think Neymar will handle these difficult spots at PSG, and is he ready for that responsibility?
I think he's been ready for this kind of responsibility for a while. I mean, he's already the main guy in Brazil. You saw it on the 2014 World Cup, where he had so much pressure on him and the rest of the team did, and they were doing very well until he got hurt and then he wasn't able to play in the semifinals. So I think it's not going to be that big of a transition for him because he was at Barcelona and he got to stay behind the likes of Luis Suarez or Leo Messi, guys who were real leaders in the locker room. He got to learn from them. He went to a Champions League final that he won. So he's going to be carrying that over to PSG, where he has familiar faces like Thiago Silva and Marquinhos and Dani Alves to help him out as well. He has the quality there, and most importantly, he has the support from ownership and the fan base as well. I think it's going to be a much easier transition than most people think, and this guy is ready to take over as the best player in the world in a year or two.
Well, so far so good for Neymar. Within 3 matches, he's got 3 assists and 3 goals, so you cannot complain about what he's been able to accomplish so far at his new club. But now we transition to the English Premier League, where a massive clash is underway this weekend between Manchester City and Liverpool. Both clubs last season, they battled back and forth. Liverpool took the opening match and won it against City, and then the two clubs drawed in the second time they matched up against each other. But I think all eyes are, of course, on the managers for these two clubs, Martino. Jürgen Klopp at Liverpool, Pep Guardiola at Manchester City, two of the best guys in the world. Many people just consider them such renowned football masterminds. But I think the question so many people has is, which one will have more success at the end of the season?
I think success is a really funny word to use here because they definitely both have different expectations. Man City spending all the money that they have, Pep Guardiola's reputation as one of the best managers in the world and what he used to do at Barcelona, and bringing that to Man City and kind of changing that culture. And then there's Jürgen Klopp. Almost everywhere he's been, especially at Dortmund, he was overachieving. And I think he's done the same thing at Liverpool. Yes, they've invested in the team, but they don't have the greatest quality in the midfield, particularly at the back, especially with defense and their keeper. Now, if Jürgen Klopp manages to qualify for the Champions League again and even get Liverpool out of the group stage, I think it's definitely a big success for Liverpool. If on the other hand, with Pep Guardiola, if he doesn't manage to secure Champions League or even win the league title, because I think that's the expectation for them, or even get all the way to the semifinals in the Champions League, I think people are really going to have to start questioning him. So I think there's more pressure and more expectations on Pep Guardiola, but at the same time, I think Jürgen Klopp is going to be the more successful one this coming season because of expectations.
That is all we have for you on this episode of Soccer Showdown. Thank you, as always, for listening, everyone. Joe Archino and Martino Puccio will catch everybody in the next episode.